The ABA devs have decided to add Frieza to the game, and now we can compare my old Frieza concept to the current version of Frieza in ABA. So let's begin.
Dirty D's done Dato Chief. 神戸を垂れる。
The first move for Frieza is called Death Beam. Now, the move is a guard break beam. It's very thin, just like Okura's beam, and it can be moved around, just like Sasuke's Chidori True Spear, I think. Yeah, it's a guard break, a very good guard break indeed, and believe it or not, in my concept there is a move called Death Beam, and it has the same properties. It's a guard break, it can be moved around, and it's a beam, and very thin beam, yeah. So I think that move has to have been predicted, yeah, for sure has been predicted. So now let's move on to the second move. The second move for Frieza is called Tail Slam. In the move, Frieza charges forward and then slams down anyone who's in front of him or near him even. The move is a blockable move, but if it hits, it can be an extender, so you can extend your combos with this move. In my opinion, it's a pretty good move, but sadly the closest thing I could find to this move in my concept is called the Tail Whip. Now in the move, Frieza just spins around, and if anyone gets hit by his tail, they will be knocked away. Now I'm going to give this move a rating of close enough because they both use their tails in the concepts. They both use their tails to attack the enemy, so I think that's a close enough for me. You can tell me your opinion in the comments below. Now moving on to the third move for Frieza, we got Death Saucer. Now in the move, Frieza just fires a purple colored destructo disc, but if it misses, it will be coming back to the enemy, so it's going to strike them behind their back. Now the move is fiercely guard break, but then when it comes back it can be blocked. It's an extender, I know that for sure, and in my concept there wasn't anything even close to this. There was nothing at all, so I would say that this move was not predicted, sadly. The fourth and the final move for Frieza in his base kit is called Supernova. Now I do think that this move should have been an ultimate attack in his awakening, but the devs decided not to give him it as an ultimate attack, and they just gave him it as a base move. So let's just describe the move. Frieza creates this keyboard on top of him, and then he fires it in front of him. So, well, wherever his mouse is, he fires it there. The move does continuous damage if it hits anyone, and then at the end it slams the enemy down. So it can be used to extend combos, and people do some very cool combos with this move in my opinion. Now in my concept, sadly again there wasn't anything similar to this move. Well, I did have a similar move, the same move actually, in Awakening as an ultimate attack, Supernova as an ultimate attack, but I guess that won't work in this situation because it's in his Awakening. So in the base kit there's nothing similar to the Supernova attack, so let's move on to his Awakening. The first move in Frieza's Awakening is called Death Beam Barrage. Now in the move, Frieza creates a bunch of death beams, and these can be moved around as well. They're all guard breaks, and it's a pretty good move overall. Sadly, in my concept, I got very lazy and just created a huge beam. So I was planning on creating the same move, those multiple death beams, but I got lazy and just created one huge beam and called it the Super Death Beam. So it's just thick death beam, it can't be moved, it's a guard break, and it doesn't have a big startup. So if I wasn't lazy, this move could have been predicted, but sadly I was. So the move is now close enough, it's ranked close enough. Let's move on to his second Awakening move. The second move for Frieza's Awakening is called Nova Blast. Now in the move, Frieza just engulfs himself in a bunch of ki and then starts to roll around. And if he hits anyone, it will do continuous damage, and at the end the ki around Frieza will just explode and slam down the enemy that's near Frieza. The move is an extender, so you can use it to extend your combos. Overall, it's a pretty good move. It kinda has a lot of startup, so I don't like that. And the closest thing I could find to this move in my concept was called Nova. No, not Nova. It was called They Don't Touch. Yeah. So Frieza just releases a fake punch in front of him, and then his hand starts to glow, and then immediately he releases a bunch of ki out of his hand, and then anyone who's in front of him will be knocked away. So I think these two moves are similar because of the colors. Frieza's ki that he engulfs himself in ADA is pink and purple-ish, and in my concept that's the same colors I used, I think. But other than that, there's nothing similar in these two moves, so I would say that the move was not sadly predicted, so not predicted for this one. And the third move is up ahead. Let's move on to that. The third move for Frieza's Awakening is called Death Saucers. So Frieza just releases two of his Death Saucers at the enemy. Firstly, they are God Breaks, and then when they miss, if they miss of course, they come back as blockable destructive discs, but they're purple obviously. The move is the same as Death Saucer in his base. As I mentioned, its properties are the same as well. It's an extender if you use it in a ladder combo, and there wasn't anything similar to this move once again. But I do want to say a cool move that I made because I really like the move. In the concept, the third move for Frieza in his Awakening is called the Revenge Time. Yeah, Frieza just teleports in front of the enemy and then kicks them high up in the air, and then teleports above them, and then uses Death Beam on them, and it just slams the enemy down. I really think it looks cool, and I really like how it looks. It would be a cool move. I think he did that to Goku. I think that's where I got it from, but sadly the move was not predicted again because there's nothing similar to these two moves. I just wanted to mention the move I made in the concept because I think it's very cool. So let's move on to the final move for his Awakening, and then we can say the goodbyes. The final move for Frieza's Awakening is called Telekinesis. Now Frieza just grabs someone with his mind and then brings them high up in the air, and then explodes them somehow, and the enemy gets slammed down. And it can be used to extend combos if you're near the enemy, so when they get slammed down you can move towards them and then like M1 them or do whatever you want. So it's an extender, it's a blockable move, and again there wasn't anything similar to this move, but I do want to say that I made an ultimate attack for Frieza, and it was supposed to be Supernova, but sadly, as I mentioned before, Aviator decided to give him the move in his base. Now in my Awakening and in my concept, Frieza uses his Supernova in his Awakening. It kind of works the same. He just fires this gigantic keyboard in front of him, and wherever it lands, if it hits anyone it will do continuous damage, and at the end it will explode and do extra damage. Now it's basically the same move, but the one is in base and the other one is an Awakening move, and it's my concept sadly did not come true. So let's go back to talking about the fourth and final move for our dear Frieza, which was Telekinesis, and sadly this move was not predicted because there wasn't anything in my concept that was similar to this move. Now I would like to thank you all for watching this video. I love you guys. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you would like to do that. But for now, toodles.